Hello, in this video we will explore the axilla using a cadaveric specimen. This image shows an anterior view of the axilla and pectoral region, where the pectoralis major and surrounding axillary fat have been removed. You can also see the cut ends of pectoralis minor and deltoid. These muscles are partially removed to provide a clear view of the axillary contents. At the superior border, the clavicle is visible. The arm muscles lie on the lateral side, while the rib cage forms the medial boundary of the axilla. Beneath the clavicle, the subclavius muscle is seen attaching to the first rib. Running through the axilla are the axillary vessels. The medial vessel is the axillary vein, and the lateral vessel, partially seen here, is the axillary artery. The nerves associated with the axillary vessels are branches of the brachial plexus cords. The musculocutaneous nerve runs laterally to the axillary artery, passing deep to the short head of the biceps, which is partially cut to expose the nerve. The long head of the biceps lies in the bicipital groove, joining the short head to form the biceps brachii. The median nerve is formed overlying the axillary artery by the union of its lateral and medial roots, which can be observed in this dissection. On the posterior aspect, the latissimus dorsi is visible. Its thoracodorsal nerve and artery are clearly seen supplying the muscle. Part of the serratus anterior muscle is also visible, along with the long thoracic nerve, also called the nerve of Bell. Finally, the upper four ribs and their intercostal muscles can be appreciated along the medial wall of the axilla, providing structural support and anatomical orientation for the axillary contents. In this specimen, the clavicle has been removed, providing a clear view of the brachial plexus. The axillary vessels have also been removed, allowing us to appreciate the cut ends of the subclavian and axillary arteries. The proximal cut end is the subclavian artery, emerging from the lateral border of the anterior scalene muscle, which continues as the axillary artery. The distal cut end is the axillary artery, which continues further as the brachial artery as it enters the arm. Before giving rise to branches in the arm, the axillary artery gives off the subscapular artery, which lies over the subscapularis muscle. Now focusing on the brachial plexus, the roots emerge from the lateral border of the anterior scalene muscle. The three trunks, upper, middle, and lower, are clearly visible. The three cords are also well demonstrated. The lateral cord lies on the lateral side, the medial cord lies on the medial side, and the posterior cord lies on the posterior side cord, which is thicker, is situated posteriorly and partially overlapped by the medial cord. Several important branches are visible. The musculocutaneous nerve, piercing the coracobrachialis muscle, the median nerve, running alongside the brachial artery, the radial nerve, which is the continuation of the posterior cord and passes posteriorly into the arm. Here you can also observe the ulnar nerve and the axillary nerve coursing through the axilla to reach the arm. Additionally, visible thoracodorsal nerve. While medial to it, the long thoracic nerve is partially seen, supplying the serratus anterior. Now let's focus on the deeply situated posterior cord of the brachial plexus. First, let's orient ourselves with the dissected structures. The cut end of the conjoint tendon, formed by the coracobrachialis and short head of biceps, arising from the coracoid process, is visible. The deltoid has been completely removed, and the cut end of the long head of the biceps, crossing the bicipital groove, can be identified. The clavicle has already been removed to expose the deeper structures. Laterally, the cut end of the terminal part of the axillary artery is seen along with one of its branches, the subscapular artery. The axillary artery continues as the brachial artery in the arm. A deeper branch, the profunda brachii artery, courses into the posterior compartment of the arm. On the medial side, at the root of the neck, the anterior scalene muscle is demonstrated. The cut ends of the upper, middle, and lower trunks are visible, along with the cut end of the subclavian artery. From the posterior cord, the following branches are appreciated. The axillary nerve, which courses towards the circumflex humeral arteries, branches of the axillary artery, the radial nerve, the thickest branch, which passes into the posterior compartment alongside the profunda brachii artery, and the thoracodorsal nerve, supplying the latissimus dorsi muscle. Additionally, the long thoracic nerve is seen along the thoracic wall, supplying the serratus anterior. This completes the demonstration of the axilla in this cadaveric specimen, illustrating the anatomical relationships of vessels, nerves, and muscles in this region.